Hey, welcome back to the Bako Motorsports Power Hour. Mike Griffith, motorsports writer. I'm here. To my left is Jason Galvin. He does something for KGET TV.
I've heard of them.
He's on early in the morning. He used to do sports,
Mike, what
but then he
time?
went to the dark side.
Do you wake up early enough for that, Mike?
He's on like a 5 a.m.,
He
4
owns
a.m.,
a
something like
farm.
that.
What are you talking about? He's up at 4 o'clock in the morning
That's a
feeding
good point.
goats.
That's a good
Yeah.
point.
So
I went and read to some elementary schoolers before I came here to read Across America Day, and one of the kids goes, "So what exactly do you do?" I said, "I'm the sunrise anchor over at Channel 17." They go, "But what's the sunrise anchor?" I go, "Oh, it's a morning show. You know, if your parents watch the news." They go, "Oh yeah. So do you get up at like 5:30?" I was like, "Yeah, 3." And they were just like,
oh, that means you got to be in bed early. It must be an 8 o'clock bedtime.
"Oh no, I went to bed at 11 last night."
So we got Jason here. Louis Amestoy is still over there. He can't talk, so he can just
sorry,
wave.
Louis.
And we've got the Good Vibrations Motorsports March meet this weekend at Auto Club Famoso Raceway. That's a little event, just a little event. 550 cars. The pits are packed. Looks like sardines parked out there. Motorhomes everywhere on the spectator side. And they're actually going to be doing some running and testing today, but the real test day is tomorrow with some runs, and qualifying starts for some of the other divisions.
Yeah, the big event out there for the March meet, of course. That's like kind of like our original drag race here in Bakersfield. The Hot Rod reunion gets all the I want to say the national play just because of the NHRA backing behind it. But the March meet to me that's more of like the party race for me, and I enjoy the March meet.
Well, and the Hot Rod reunion is a reunion, and
Right.
they limit the amount of race cars and stuff. About half of what are on the grounds at the March meet, just everything: A gas, B gas, hot rod, junior fuel. You've got your nitro funny cars, front motor, top fuel, and fuel altereds. And we have John Kegley on the phone. He's a partner in the funny car the fuel altered that Dan Hicks out of Oregon drives. How you doing, John?
Doing good, Mike. How you guys?
We're doing well. Let's talk this fuel altered deal. There's been fuel altereds for a long time, and fuel altered basically is a short wheelbase car, supercharged nitro engine, and think about like a very tough to drive in the old school fuel altereds, the Pure Heavens, the Pure Hells, some of the classic fuel altereds.
Winged Express.
The Winged Express, and now it's changed a little bit, hasn't it?
It has. You still have those cars which they consider classic fuel altereds, and then you have the more modern type cars like ours, and we run like a 125-inch wheelbase, similar to what the funny cars run. And the classic guys, they're like 100 inches to 118 probably max. So you have a good variety of both at this race, which makes it really, really exciting for the fans.
Now you run basically the body on yours is based on a 34 Chevy, and Dan's won the last 2 March meets. Does it look anything like a 34 Chevy?
No.
Well, that's kind of what it was started around, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and you'd have to know that to figure out that's what it is. But, it's something that Dan built himself. He's quite a fabricator, and it may not look exactly like it, but it's a cool-looking car.
I think, Chris, you've got some slides of the Chewy's car we're talking about, driven by Dan, and it's a nice-looking car.
It is.
And it goes real fast. Now, the fuel altereds, this is a index racing, basically. It's based on to try to run 6 seconds flat. And I think what it allows is a lot of different styles, the old style, the new style, to get together without killing stuff getting down the racetrack. Is that right?
Well, that's what they're trying to achieve. You can run 6.0, like you say, without eating a thing up. Now, a car like ours, we're basically over horsepowered, so we kind of have to slow our car down. But you have the other guys, like the Sullivan car or Pure Hell car, those guys will go 6.0, but when they run their car, they're having to run it all the way out. And but they still don't hurt parts either. So it's a great class. It's what I would consider a little less expensive than trying to go funny car racing, which is outrageous.
Right. And you guys have the class, you've a lot of cars, the 8-car field. Eliminations will be on Sunday. 3 qualifying runs to make it. About how many cars are out there?
I think this year it's down a little bit. There's going to be 14, but I believe last year there was like 21 or 22. They threw a couple of new rules on us this year, and I think it's held some of the cars back. it's still a very expensive sport, and the rules that we had to come up with, some changes we had to make were pretty pricey. So some of the guys had to sit this race out, but they'll be back out maybe for the Saturday Night Nitros and some of the other races.
I think, and important to point out here, when we talk about the 6.0 ET that they got to run here, this is 6.0 in nitro cars. This is not 6.0 in something with electronics in it. Mike is like the most anti-electronic person in the world besides me, I think. The two of us are very, very similar in our thoughts on that. This is 6.0 with the driver and the crew chief. I mean, this is take your best shot at it and learn how to be consistent, which makes his cars really entertaining. I'm wondering, have you guys ever run it through, like just in testing? Like, let's see what it runs. Do you know what it'll run if you push it?
We have not done that. We have gone 588 up in Boise last year, but again, he clicked it at about 900 feet. So no, but we're saying the car would probably run 560s, high 570s.
It's a funny car.
Yeah, not too bad. And I think a new rule also this year is to ensure that there's enough pop in the tank, so to speak, is that they've instituted a 70% nitro rule because some of the guys are running, let's say, a lot of alcohol. Is that correct?
You're absolutely correct. You got to have at least 70% in it so the thing's making noise and the crowd gets all pumped up about it. You could let alcohol cars run. They won't be competitive. They run real well to half track, but through the quarter mile, they're going to be considerably slower than the nitro cars. So 70% is a good mixture. The thing's not on kill, but you can sure hear it.
Now, if this thing's, you think you can leg this out, what's the deal with your car? Is it so fast you just try to slow it down by tuning, or is it just shutting off at a certain spot of the racetrack?
Well, the past 2 years, we actually just shut off. Now, this year we did some pretty extensive testing, and we're working on taking timing and fuel and certain other things away from it and trying to slow it down because we'd like you to be able to keep the foot down all the way through the quarter mile. So we think we're pretty close right now.
So if you're shutting off and you've raced Jeremy Sullivan, the Mike Sullivan little old school 48 Fiat, he won the California Hot Rod reunion. I was talking to you earlier. You're shutting it off. And Jeremy Sullivan is out there turning left, turning right, and driving all over the racetrack to get that thing down.
Yeah, he actually drives a little farther than a quarter mile than we do. We've raced him twice, in the finals of the last two March meets, which we've won those. But he beat us up in Boise in the final. Jeremy, he has his handful with that car. That car, that's a bad hot rod. He does a tremendous job driving. Very impressive car.
That's got to be difficult, I would imagine, for you, and when you're setting the car up to know that when the driver goes out there, that your driver, and maybe that's part of what went into you guys working on the timing and stuff to slow it down a little bit, knowing that you're giving your driver a car that he's got to go out there and no matter what happens, he's got to lift. I mean, it's kind of like anti the establishment of what you're taught growing up and wanting to go as fast as you can for as long as you can.
It's a tough deal. Driver comes into play more than probably he should, actually. But it's what we have to do, and we'll get this thing squared away where we can run 6.0 or 6.02, running it all the way through. And like I say, I think we're really close right now.
Okay, are you guys going to take a lap today, or are you going to wait till tomorrow?
We're not even going to run tomorrow. We're going to wait till Friday when they do the test or when they do the first round of qualifying.
Okay. Well, I thank you for calling in. I know you've got a lot of work out there to do at the racetrack. Get ready, and we'll look forward to seeing you out there this weekend.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I don't know if Chris has that the slides of the cars up yet or the video of the fuel altereds, but anyway, those things are bad.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't been out there to the March meet, it's not all about just the funny cars, and it's just, and we're showing that now, and the car on the near left lane here is what we're talking about, Jeremy Sullivan in that 48 Anglia, old school type of car, and these are a fan favorite, and they do tend to get squirrely, at least the old school style. The longer wheelbase modern ones we were talking to John about, tend to go a little straighter. They got more aerodynamics. You can see there's nothing aerodynamic about
No.
Pure Heaven here. That is old school, fuel altered. And that's just part of the nitro show. There's about 50 nitro cars out there. We're talking 24, 26 nitro funny cars looking for a 16-car field. First round eliminations on that will be Saturday evening. You're probably going to have about 14 front-motored top field dragsters looking for an 8-car field this year. They've condensed that down to 8 to make it competitive, to make it tough to get into. And then you've got hundreds of other cars in a wide variety of classes. So you pretty much got stuff running down the drag strip from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock.
And here's the car we were just talking about. This car is essentially a funny car
that's
with
a
no
beautiful,
body on it.
yeah,
It's
it's essentially a
beautiful.
funny car with a fuel altered and wing on it. It's a beautiful car, gets a lot of attention, and it's on display at Chewy's in the kickoff party. By the way, the Good Vibrations Motorsports kickoff party is Thursday night there by Chewy's from about 6 to 9. A lot of
They
cars
also
on
have
display.
the backup girls figured out too.
And fuel altered racers have backup girls figured out, which is a big part of drag
That
racing.
is the biggest part of drag racing, isn't it?
And they seem to be, it's making a comeback.
It is. It even makes a comeback on the NHRA trail. I was
NHRA, you
noticing
can
that
find
the
up.
first
There's
couple of
a
races.
backup girls fan page and stuff, and there's bios on the girls. And a lot of these girls are actually part of the crews. A wife or a girlfriend, and some of these girls actually turn wrenches as well on the car. So these are a purpose because you don't know where you're going. You've got to be backed up in the same marks you left. That's
Right.
the idea. Mr. Amestoy,
Yes, Mike, what do you think is going to happen in Top Fuel this year? I want to know all your thoughts on that.
I think Tony Bartone's going to win.
I think Tony Bartone's pretty tough to beat.
Pretty tough to beat, yeah.
Bill Dunlap ran really well late last year and won the California Hot Rod Reunion. Basically got within about a tenth of Bartone, and Bartone finally blew up. But Dunlap grenaded a motor out there in testing a couple weeks ago. Sorokin's been working on that car. If it was 8th mile racing, I'd go with Adam Sorokin in that small block Chevy. That thing is quick to the 8th mile, but it has a hard time living past 800 feet. And so I think those are the three guys.
I mean,
White.
We've lost a couple cars. I feel like that
Yeah.
are usually pretty competitive. So
Yeah, you lost
and Denver Park did.
Denver
Denver
Shoots,
Shoots, right.
but his tuner Kaiser is now going to be in the circuit breaker car. So they're getting that car back on track. So that kind of takes it. So that's going to be, I think I'm going to talk to him tomorrow a little bit about why he's getting back into top fuel racing. We're going to get out of here. We just go out there. There's going to be lots of racing. If you like nitro, get out to Auto Club Famoso Raceway, and we'll be back in a minute with the Bakersfield Speedway segment.
The bigger